All I can say is finally. Nathaniel Hackett did enough ripping and running. Robert Saleh finally got his guy. Matt LaFleur doesn't have to argue with his quarterback no more. This is finally it for both parties. I think this is a better day than my first Christmas as a child. I don't have to think about Aaron Rodgers speculation anymore. The New York Jets finally got Aaron Rodgers, and it's time. It's time to see what he's about. It's time to see what this New York Jets team is about. We've heard all the things out there talking about a quarterback away. I don't believe any team is ever a quarterback away from a Super Bowl, but I do think this is a move that makes you a lot better. Zach Wilson has proven he still needs some work. Interesting thing, though. Zach Wilson is still on this roster. So what do we do with Zach Wilson? Do we groom him because he's the insurance policy for Aaron Rodgers? What's really going on here in New York? But I think Aaron Rodgers, you got a lot to prove to me. Now, I understand your resume. I understand the MVP, Super Bowl. I respect all of that. I think you have one of the best arms that I've ever seen on a quarterback. But I saw you last season. With the Green Bay Packers, you weren't playing like MVP Rodgers. That's just the simple truth of it. Now, we can say the New York Jets have a great defense, and they do have a great defense. You got Garrett Wilson. You got Alan Lazard. You got your guys. You really have some nice weapons. You got Breece Hall coming back off that injury, and you got McCole Hardman. So I don't want to hear the excuses from Aaron Rodgers talking about the weapons, I don't want to hear it. That's really what it's coming down to. Aaron Rodgers, you're on my clock. I need to see it. Now, I want to talk about the details. What's going on? What was the final compensation? Because I think that's why this deal took so long. Because we're trying to see what can we get. You know, the Jets, they didn't want to get that 13th pick. Keynote, they ended up giving up that 13th pick. Now, as I look at these details, I see the Jets get Aaron Rodgers. They get pick number 15, which is nice. We're going to talk about that. They get a 2023 fifth-round pick. And that's it. And the Packers, they got the number 13th overall pick. I guess they kept calling until they finally got it. They have a 2023 second. They got this year's second round pick, number 42 overall. They have a sixth round pick this year, 207th overall, and a conditional 2024 second round pick that becomes a first if Rodgers plays 65% of the plays. I think he's going to do that. That's, really kind of already obvious. So that's going to be a first round pick. Basically, a 2023 first, a 2024 first, and a 2023 second in that sixth round pick that I was talking about. So that's not terrible compensation. And Aaron Rodgers, he's on the older side, getting paid a lot of money. But the question with Aaron Rodgers is, when is it going to be time? Do I want to play this season? No, I don't want to play this season. I don't want to play this season. Now I want to play. I don't want to be part of the team. Now I'm part of the team. You're not running good routes. Now you're a great receiver. You can't pick and choose. And you come here. Now, understand, the Green Bay Packers drafted you. They groomed you. You came in after Brett Favre. That was all voila. That was a beautiful story. You don't have the respect of New York media. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing. Now, this is a move that puts them in contention, but this is a move that can also backfire terribly. Aaron Rodgers, we have to understand who he is. Typically, guys don't change their ways. The human mind, it stops developing at a certain age. Aaron Rodgers is on the late side of his 30s. That he's not going to change who he is just because he's in New York. You got those young guys in there. You got a Garrett Wilson. You got Mekhi Becton. You got Breece Hall. Those young guys on that offense. You can't come in there and act like you're that guy. They should automatically, you demand respect. You tell these guys what to do. You shouldn't respect them. You're above the team. That's not going to fly in New York. So I'm just saying that's a key thing to watch for. I want to see an Aaron Rodgers who comes in, who's not above the team, who's working with these young guys, getting extra work in the offseason, getting extra work after practice, extra work on the film study. I want to see a rejuvenated Aaron Rodgers, somebody who has that spark back in him, somebody who really wants to win football games and prove a point. You said, now this is out of your mouth. I haven't heard this out of anybody else's mouth but Aaron Rodgers. You said you felt as if it was time for both sides to move on. Okay, that was the point. Now both sides have moved on, but are you different? Because we look at the Green Bay Packers, and I understand they drafted Jordan Love. You wanted a receiver. You wanted a weapon on that offense. Didn't get it. But you can't hold that grudge and say that's the reason that you performed poorly last season, because you did. Now, if you come in here and you're not a new Aaron Rodgers like I think you should be, you're that same guy, the same older guy who's stuck in his ways. The New York media will rip you apart. They don't love nobody. I'm telling you. We see what the Knicks fans do to Julius Randle. You see that when he has a bad game, when Tom Thibodeau doesn't get the rotation right. I'm telling you, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come in here with his head on straight, with that mindset of trying to be a true leader, not throwing guys under the bus, you can lose this team very fast. Now, I like Sauce, Michael Carter, all those guys, Jermaine Johnson, CJ Mosley. That's a very feisty defense. Now, as far as, let's talk about the division. We got the New England Patriots. That's kind of looking like a dumpster fire right now. Hopefully they can get it together. I do like Mac Jones. We got the Buffalo Bills. Pretty solid team. We know what Josh Allen is. We know they're going to contend. We got the Miami Dolphins, kind of the wild card revolving around Tua's health. So we still, that's still to be determined, but I like that team. They got J-Ram. They got Xavier Howard. That backing is pretty solid. Still got Javon Holland. I mean, you're in a tough division, and I think it has to work, because if it doesn't work, I'm afraid Aaron Rodgers is going to lose the spark. I'm afraid he's going to back out on the team. I don't know, but I do think, now, talking about the draft, what players does this put them in line for? What players does this take them out of line for? The Jets have the 15th pick. Now, it was interesting because they didn't really want to come off that 13th overall pick, but you move back 2 spots, and I'm thinking kind of a Broderick Jones type deal. Darnell Wright is pretty solid. It's really dependent. It's revolving around what you want to do with Mekhi Becton. Is he going to stay healthy? Is Dwayne Brown going to stay healthy? I think both of those guys are solid tackles, but the fact of the matter is they can't stay healthy. Now, this takes you out of the trading up possibilities because you lost your second round pick. You really can't give anything up. So you got to sit and pick at 15. So I'm thinking Broderick Jones, maybe a Darnell Wright, or maybe you even go defense. If you really want to do that, you could. But I'm talking about those offensive line players that I think would be there. It's kind of high for Osiris Torrance unless you trade back with the team. It's a couple possibilities we have in there. I think you add offensive line, Aaron Rodgers, he's old. He's a good quarterback, but he is old. He's not the most mobile. You want an offensive line around that, and you want to help Breece Hall. He can be a 1,000+ yard rusher. Still got the weapons on the outside. I feel really good about the position they're in. I feel good about the compensation they gave up. And like I said, this is a good move. It's just about Aaron Rodgers and where is his mind? What is he thinking right now? How does he feel about this team? Does he even really want to play football? And for the Packers, I think you're feeling really good. Now, we starting to get, you already in kind of that first receiver off the board conversation. Now, I'm thinking at 13, you could really look for a guy, Jackson Smith-Njigba. I think you really put yourself in position. Now, he may go higher than that. I heard that Eagles talking about him. Some teams really talking about him. I mean, even the Titans, even if they don't go quarterback or offensive line. So, it's a lot of possibilities, but you move up 2 spots. You could potentially get a blue chip in case they fall. I like it. Now, you got the second round pick this year. That's going to be nice as well. And you got that conditional, which I said it's going to end up being a first. So, good move for both teams. It depends on Aaron Rodgers. I'm not jumping out of my seat. I have to see it. I really want to see, is Rodgers ready?